Welcome back, everyone. Today we're diving into something that I find pretty fascinating. It's the potential of food polyphenols to help manage and even treat type 2 diabetes.
Yeah, it's a hot topic. And we've got this really interesting 2023 scientific review article to dig into. It explores a whole bunch of these compounds and how they work.
With the number of people dealing with type 2 diabetes increasing, it feels like this is something we should all know more about.
Totally. I think you'll find some of the findings are pretty surprising.
Well, I'm all ears. But before we get too deep into the specifics, maybe we could just back up for a second.
Okay.
Could you give us a quick recap of why type 2 diabetes is such a concern and how it's typically managed, just to kind of set the stage?
Sure. So type 2 diabetes is a condition where basically your body either doesn't produce enough insulin or it can't use it effectively.
Right.
And insulin is a hormone that regulates blood sugar. So when it's not working as it should, glucose builds up in your bloodstream.
And that leads to all sorts of complications.
Exactly. And traditionally, it's managed through lifestyle changes like diet and exercise and often medication.
Okay, so how do these polyphenols fit into all of this?
Well, there's a growing interest in how plant-based nutrients can help manage diabetes and potentially even reduce those complications. And polyphenols are a big part of that. They're these natural compounds that are found in tons of plants. Like you're talking fruits, veggies, grains. You even find them in things like tea and chocolate.
So we're not talking about some exotic ingredient that no one has access to.
No, not at all.
These are things people are probably eating already.
Exactly.
But how do they actually work in relation to diabetes?
Well, that's what's so interesting about them. They've got these multiple ways of helping. One of the major ways is they protect the crucial insulin-producing cells in your pancreas. They're called beta cells.
So they're kind of like bodyguards for the cells that are essential for managing blood sugar.
Precisely. See, when your blood sugar is constantly high, it can actually damage those beta cells. It's called glucose toxicity. And polyphenols can shield the cells from that damage and even encourage their growth and regeneration.
Wow. So they're not just preventing damage, they're actually helping those cells thrive.
Exactly.
That's incredible.
Yeah, but that's not all. Polyphenols can also help regulate your metabolism, specifically how your body processes carbohydrates and fats.
Okay.
And this can improve insulin sensitivity, meaning your body can use insulin more effectively.
So it's this two-pronged approach, right? You're protecting the cells that make insulin NAD. You're helping the body use it better.
Exactly.
Are there any other benefits beyond insulin itself?
Yeah, there are. And this is where things get even more interesting.
Okay.
So polyphenols also act as antioxidants and have anti-inflammatory properties.
I've heard those terms thrown around so much, but I have to admit, sometimes I don't really know what they mean.
Okay.
Could you maybe give us a quick explanation? Like explain it to me like I'm 5.
Sure. So think of it this way. Our bodies are constantly dealing with damage from things like pollution, stress, even just the normal process of, converting food to energy.
Right.
And this creates something called oxidative stress, which is kind of like rust forming on a car. It's cellular damage that can lead to aging and disease.
So antioxidants are like rust-proofing for our bodies.
Exactly. And inflammation, well, that's your body's natural response to injury or infection. It's a good thing in the short term. But chronic inflammation, that can be harmful. Polyphenols can help, tamp down that chronic inflammation, which is particularly important for people with diabetes, as they are often dealing with higher levels of inflammation.
Okay, so we've got the bodyguards, the metabolic regulators, the rust-proofers, and e-inflammation fighters. And it's all within these little plant compounds.
It is. It's pretty amazing.
This review article goes deeper, right? Like it talks about some specific polyphenols and their benefits.
It does. And each one has its own fascinating story and potential applications. One that's gotten a lot of attention is resveratrol, which is found in grapes and red wine.
Wait, did you say red wine? So that glass of Cabernet with dinner?
Yeah.
That could actually be doing me some good.
Well, moderation is always key, but there's definitely some intriguing research on resveratrol. It's been shown to improve insulin sensitivity. It's even been shown to extend lifespan in mice that are on a high-calorie diet.
Hold on, did you just say extend lifespan?
I did.
I'm definitely interested now. How does it work?
Well, it's pretty complex, but basically resveratrol seems to increase something called mitochondrial biogenesis.
Whoa! That sounds intense. Could you break that down for us non-scientists?
Of course. So mitochondria are the powerhouses of your cells. They're where energy is produced. And resveratrol seems to boost their number and function, so it impacts energy metabolism in a positive way.
So more energy and a longer life. Sign me up.
Right.
Are there any other polyphenols that I should be adding to my grocery list?
Yeah, there are. Another big one is curcumin. It's found in turmeric.
Turmeric. Isn't that what gives curry its yellow color?
It is. It's a common spice, but it's gotten a lot of attention for its potential in treating diabetes and related complications. It's been shown to improve blood sugar control and reduce inflammation in people who have diabetes. And, it's affordable. It's generally safe.
So I could literally be fighting diabetes with something I sprinkle on my food.
It's pretty amazing, right?
Incredible.
And there's another one you might be familiar with. Quercetin.
Quercetin. Yeah, that sounds familiar. Isn't that found in apples and onions?
Yes. Quercetin helps regulate blood sugar by controlling how glucose enters your cells. It's like a gatekeeper, making sure glucose isn't just flooding in and causing problems.
So it's about maintaining that healthy balance.
Exactly.
What else does quercetin do?
Well, it's also been shown to enhance insulin secretion, and it can even promote regeneration of those pancreatic beta cells we were talking about earlier. Plus, it has positive effects on blood pressure, cholesterol levels. It can even help with weight management.
Wow, quercetin is sounding like a real multitasker.
Yeah, it's a pretty impressive compound.
It's amazing how these compounds found in everyday foods can have such a big impact on our health.
Yeah.
What other polyphenol powerhouses should we know about?
Okay, well, green tea lovers, rejoice. The catechins in green tea are real heroes when it comes to diabetes.
Okay.
They can stimulate glucose uptake in your tissues, meaning your body uses glucose more efficiently, and they can actually inhibit the liver's production of glucose, so that potentially lowers blood sugar levels as well.
So that afternoon cup of green tea is more than just a relaxing ritual. It's actually helping to manage blood sugar.
Exactly.
I'm feeling pretty good about my tea habit right now. Are there more?
There are. Let's talk about those brightly colored berries, like your blueberries and strawberries. They're packed with anthocyanins, which are potent antioxidants.
So the brighter the fruit, the better.
That's a good rule of thumb. Anthocyanins protect your cells from damage caused by oxidative stress, which is a major factor in diabetes complications. And they also promote insulin secretion. They improve insulin resistance, all while fighting inflammation.
It's incredible how these compounds work together to tackle diabetes from all these different angles. It's really making me rethink my grocery shopping strategy.
I'm glad.
And there's one more we should mention, right? Camphorol.
Yes, camphorol. It's found in ginkgo biloba, grapes, and leafy greens.
Camphorol. That's a new one for me. What's its specialty?
It's got this unique ability to enhance insulin secretion, almost like a pharmaceutical drug. And it does this by boosting an enzyme called glucokinase.
So it's giving our natural insulin production a helping hand.
Exactly.
Remarkable.
And it also has anti-inflammatory properties and helps regulate a cellular cleaning process called autophagy, which is important for overall cell health and is linked to diabetes.
Wow. This has been an absolute whirlwind of information. We've covered so much from, understanding the challenges of diabetes to exploring this diverse world of polyphenols and their incredible potential.
It's a lot to take in.
It is.
But I hope you're starting to see just how powerful these natural compounds can be.
I am. I feel like I've gained a whole new appreciation for the foods that I put on my plate.
Mm-hmm.
I'm definitely going to be looking at my diet in a whole new light.
That's the goal. But before you go on a polyphenol shopping spree, there's a little bit more to discuss.
You're right. We need to connect all of this amazing science to practical applications. Like, how do we make sure we're getting enough of these beneficial compounds?
That's a great question, and we'll dive into it right after we take a quick moment to gather our thoughts. Stay tuned. So we've gone through some of the amazing ways that polyphenols can support diabetes management. But like you were saying, it's really understanding how to bring this knowledge to our plates. Right?
Exactly. Knowing they exist is great.
Yeah.
But how do we actually make sure we're getting enough in our daily lives?
Well, first, I think it's important to just remember that, food is not a quick fix. It's not a replacement for traditional diabetes management.
Right.
Lifestyle changes are still important. Medication if needed. Those are all crucial pieces.
It's about working with your doctor.
Yeah.
And making healthy choices overall.
Absolutely. But within that framework,
right,
choosing foods that are rich in polyphenols, it can be a really powerful way to support your health overall and potentially enhance diabetes management.
Okay, so practically speaking, what does that look like? Are we talking like specific diets or meal plans?
No, it doesn't have to be that complicated.
Okay.
The key is diversity and abundance of plant-based foods. So think vibrant colors, Load up on those berries, leafy greens, red onions, even things like purple potatoes.
So eating the rainbow, as they say.
Exactly. Each color represents different types of polyphenols, so the more variety, the better. And don't forget about spices, like turmeric, ginger, and cinnamon. Those are polyphenol powerhouses.
I love that we're talking about real food.
Right.
Not just supplements.
Yeah. While supplements can be helpful in some cases, getting your polyphenols from whole foods is always going to be the ideal approach.
Yeah.
You're getting a symphony of nutrients working together, not just isolated compounds.
And it's just more enjoyable to eat delicious food.
Right.
Than to swallow pills all the time.
Exactly. And speaking of enjoyment, remember that green tea we were talking about?
Yes.
It's not just good for you, it's a delicious ritual that can be part of a healthy lifestyle.
I'm definitely a fan of green tea.
Yeah.
But I've been curious, are other types of tea beneficial too?
That's a great question. Black tea and even some herbal teas contain polyphenols as well.
Okay.
Though the types and amounts vary, so exploring different teas can be a fun way to just add variety to your diet.
I love that. It's about finding what you enjoy and making it a sustainable part of your routine.
Absolutely. That's the key to long-term health. Now, a common question that comes up is, are there any downsides to increasing polyphenol intake?
Yeah, that's a good point. Is there such a thing as too much of a good thing?
With polyphenols from food, it's really unlikely to cause harm. But like anything, moderation is important.
Okay.
Extremely high doses from supplements, especially over a prolonged period, could potentially lead to digestive issues or, interact with certain medications.
So it's always a good idea to talk to your doctor.
Yes.
Or a registered dietitian.
Of course.
Before making any major changes to your diet or supplement routine.
Absolutely. They can help you figure out what's right for you.
Great. Okay, so we've covered the what, the why, and the how of incorporating polyphenols.
We have.
But I'm also kind of curious about the future of this research. Mm-hmm. What are some of the exciting developments on the horizon?
Ooh, there's so much happening in this field. It's really exciting. One area that's really fascinating is personalized nutrition. Scientists are studying how individual differences in our genes and even our gut microbiome can influence how we absorb and utilize polyphenols.
So you're saying one day we might have personalized dietary recommendations based on our own unique biology.
Potentially, yeah.
That's amazing.
It's a really promising area of research.
It's like the ultimate level of personalized medicine. But for food, what else is being explored?
Another interesting avenue is the development of novel therapeutic agents that are derived from polyphenols.
So could we see polyphenol-based drugs for diabetes in the future?
It's a possibility. Scientists are working to harness, the potent anti-diabetic effects of these compounds and create targeted therapies with minimal side effects.
That gives me so much hope for the future of diabetes management. It's amazing to think that the key to better health could be found right in our kitchens.
Yeah.
In the foods we eat every day.
It's a powerful concept, and I think it highlights the importance of continuing to research and explore the potential of these natural compounds.
Well, I, for one, feel inspired to start incorporating more of these polyphenol superstars into my life.
I love it.
But before I go on a grocery shopping spree, is there anything else our listeners should keep in mind?
I think the most important message is to embrace the power of food as medicine. Don't be afraid to experiment with new flavors, new ingredients, and remember, it's an ongoing journey of discovery. Stay curious, keep learning, and don't hesitate to discuss these findings with your healthcare provider.
This has been a truly eye-opening deep dive. I feel like I've gained a whole new understanding of how food can impact our health.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to managing diabetes. This has been a fantastic conversation.
I agree. It's been a pleasure exploring this topic with you.
And thank you to our listeners for joining us on this journey of discovery. We hope you found this deep dive into the world of polyphenols as informative and inspiring as we have. It's really amazing to think that these compounds are just found in everyday foods.
It really is, and it speaks to the incredible power of nature to just support our health.
One thing that really stood out to me was just the sheer variety of polyphenols and their benefits.
Absolutely. And it's not, a one-size-fits-all approach. Different polyphenols work in different ways.
Right.
And the research really suggests that a diverse diet rich in a wide range of these compounds is likely to be the most beneficial.
So it's not just about finding that one miracle food or supplement.
Exactly. It's about embracing a holistic approach to eating. Think, colorful meals filled with your fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and those amazing spices that we were talking about.
It's like creating a symphony of flavors and health benefits on your plate.
I love that. And remember, it's not just what you eat, but also how you prepare your food. Okay. Some cooking methods can actually enhance the bioavailability of polyphenols.
Oh, that's interesting. Can you give us an example?
Sure. Some studies suggest that lightly steaming or sautéing vegetables can actually increase the amount of certain polyphenols that your body can absorb.
So it's not always about eating things raw.
Exactly. It's about finding those culinary techniques that both taste good and optimize the nutritional value.
This has been such an eye-opening conversation. I feel like I've just learned so much about how food can impact our health, especially when it comes to managing diabetes.
I'm so glad. Knowledge is power.
It is.
And I hope this deep dive empowers you to make, informed choices about your health.
Absolutely. And for our listeners, we encourage you to continue exploring this topic. There's a wealth of information available online and through reputable sources like health organizations and scientific journals.
Yes, and don't hesitate to discuss these findings with your healthcare provider. They can help you personalize your dietary approach and just make sure that it aligns with your individual needs.
This has been a truly inspiring deep dive. Thank you so much for sharing your expertise and your insights with us.
The pleasure was all mine. I always enjoy conversations that bridge the gap between science and everyday life.
And to our listeners, thank you for joining us on this journey of discovery. We hope you've learned something new today, and we hope that you're feeling empowered to harness the power of food for a healthier, happier you. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring.